Hi guys, my name is Sean. I'm a houseplant enthusiast from Jakarta, Indonesia. I'm sitting in a parking lot in my car in Jogja city. It took me about 8 hours to drive here, but along the way I stopped by a few nurseries, so there's some really cool plant contents for you to watch. And I want to thank some hosts here, Aprilia and Anga, who showed me around yesterday. This is such a beautiful city of Jogja, and today there's a plant festival happening here, coincidentally. There's a lot of, mostly aroid, but there's a lot of plant stands happening here. There is a aroid competition going on right now, an auction, and tomorrow is an Aglaonema contest. There are some plant legends that are going to be attending this event, so hopefully I'll be able to meet some of them. So in this video, just sit back and relax, because I'm going to show you what an event may look like here in Indonesia. I'm quite in for a treat myself because I've never really been to one. So yeah, I'm just going to get started. It's going to get loud in the mall because as I was looking for parking space here, it was actually very full. So yeah, it might get a bit noisy from here onwards. Alright, so for this video, I'm going to have to do voiceover pretty much for a whole hour. It actually takes a lot of time, it's very tiring, but people were shouting and you would never hear me from all the noise. So this is me in the future narrating what's happening in this really vibrant event. So here is Pak Han from Han Garden. He's actually an expert at rare plants and has been doing plant collecting for a long time, and he's actually one of the juries here in this event. So I'm going to quickly interview him to figure out his stand on things.
Anak-anak muda yang mempunyai hobi yang sama ya, jadi dengan bangga untuk meramaikan aroid di Indonesia, khususnya endemik Nusantara ya, yang akan kita angkat, lebih kita fokuskan untuk menjadi sebagai suatu tanaman hias yang dilihat di mata dunia. Ya, jadi untuk daripada beberapa penilaian kita itu dari kondisinya ya, dari kesehatan maupun dari karakter ya, dari dia karakternya bagaimana, kelangkahannya maupun daripada juga performanya, bentuk ya. Okay. Jadi kemudian juga dari pola varigatanya. Okay. Itu 4 yang kita nilai. Biasanya. Sebenarnya penilaian itu tidak sulit, asal kita punya mengerti ya. Jadi perform itu seperti apa? Kita sudah ajarkan beberapa tentang kondisi juga seperti apa ya. Kemudian juga dengan karakter ya seperti apa maupun dengan varigatanya. Semua itu dari pola-pola bentuk, karakter, perform semua itu bisa dilihat dan diajarkan. Untuk kontes itu sebenarnya dibilang penting ya, sangat penting karena kita untuk memperkenalkan daripada tanaman hias yang istilahnya bentuk maupun karakter maupun juga pola variegata warna yang baik seperti apa.
Thank you ya for your time. Ya, ntar bakal tour sih biar kita lihat detailnya ya.
Oke, silakan.
Right, so this is me again in the future narrating what I just saw, and it's actually very difficult to do, so there may be some mis-synchronizations, but here's a Scindapsus that has a little bit of variegation, and here is another Scindapsus. I think it's got yellow variegation. There's actually many species coming out of Indonesia, and these guys are again contestants, so they're not winners yet. And they are going to be judged based on their form, their beauty, how they were cared for, and their variegation level, and all this good stuff. And this one has a really interesting camouflage variegation. This next one should be a Rhaphidophora, if I'm not wrong. It's got a bit of fenestration, but it's not mature yet by any means. It will probably look very good when it's mature, and these guys are actually very expensive now. And this one here, I would say it's a Scindapsus. I could be wrong. Again, there's so many of them coming out of the market, and I can't really keep track of all of them, but this one's got really beautiful splash variegation that is actually very stable. And look at how symmetrical the growth pattern is. This is a plant that's doing well. And this is a common Scindapsus. This is a Scindapsus pictus argyria. And this is actually a very, very cheap plant, but I guess it's in really good shape and it's grown up a trellis, and anyone basically can sign up. It doesn't always have to be expensive plants. This is the Scindapsus tribii dark form, also a very common plant, but sometimes they're just appreciated for who they are and their growth pattern and how well they've been taken care of. This one is probably a Rhaphidophora, but I could be wrong. And this next one is the Amedrium medium silver. This is actually not easy to grow because they tend to put out runners if they're not happy, and then you would not have this continuous growth with all these fenestrated leaves. But this one seems to be doing really well. They really need a lot of light, a lot of humidity, and a good care for them to look like that. Here is the Amedrium medium variegated, and this is actually the first time I've seen one of these. I did not know they existed, and it's actually quite interesting. Everybody's grown on this live moss that is stuffed into this moss pole, and they are also top dressed with more live moss, and they tend to be a little bit more airier than your sphagnum moss, which can compact a little bit. And I think live moss may contain a little bit more beneficial bacteria, but I could be wrong. Yeah, this one here, this is the Pasir Malang. This is a local volcanic rock that is commonly used here in aquascape, landscaping, and of course here for plants. I don't like to use them often because they tend to be very heavy. Look at this flower right here. This plant is clearly happy. But anyways, the texture is a little bit too rough, so I'm a little bit worried about repotting plants in this Pasir Malang in case their roots get scratched up. So I just realized through filming that I've been filming the back of the table. So this is actually a better view, the front of the table. And I just want to insert real quick that Pak Han, which we just interviewed earlier, he is actually an importer and exporter of really, really rare plants, collector of very rare mutated and variegated plants. So if you're looking into exporting plants from Indonesia and you have a big budget, feel free to reach out to him. He will help you out. He's got really good connections with the nurseries and also, of course, his amazing collection. But anyways, so back to this plant. This looks to be a Rhaphidophora. Again, I could be wrong, but it's got this beautiful shingling pattern and this half moon variegation. This is actually very, very uncommon to find. This one here is so precious. It's got a mint type variegation. This is probably a Scindapsus. Look at how symmetrical that looks. And this next one, I can't really figure out what it is. It's probably an aroid, but it's shingling pattern and it's trying to climb up something. And then over here, there's more Scindapsus. Again, there's so many of them. I think a lot of them will get into the market at some point and we'll be able to enjoy them more. But then for now, they're considered novelty plants. This one here is the Rhaphidophora tenuis silver, and actually about a year ago I saw a lot of these being poached and they're ended up in a lot of the local nurseries, but thankfully a lot of them has grown them out commercially, so they've been grown in these beautiful pristine conditions, which is why you're seeing beautiful leaves now, because when they were taken from the forest their leaves were actually really, really banged up. So if you are considering taking on this plant, be sure to find out from the supplier if this is actually grown in a nursery or taken from the forest. Do not buy plants that were taken or poached from the forest, please. Here's a Rhaphidophora sp. Gunung Merapi. It's actually endemic here to this region in Jogja, and someone actually whispered that in my ear, and that's how I knew. But this is a really interesting plant. The leaves are very, very irregular. The variegation is quite stable though, it seems, but the leaves are very asymmetrical. They seem to grow whichever way they want. Yeah, this is definitely an interesting specimen to watch out for. Look at that. The leaves are just different between the left and the right. And the next section here, this is what I'm really bored of, the variegated philodendron. We've seen so many of these over the years, over COVID, over our lockdowns, over Instagram. But here is probably a philodendron white tonight. And it's got a cute new leaf is unfurling, or it could be the Anderson. Yeah, it is likely that it's the Anderson, considering that it's got a red new leaf. And then next up here, we've got the Philodendron violin variegated, and this is actually very, very popular right now. It's coming to the market quite hot. This one is a Domesticum variegated, and it's also popular. Another pink princess. We've covered so many pink princesses in the channel that I guess they need no mention. Here is another Domesticum variegata. I still can't figure out how to distinguish between them and the Jose Buono, but I guess one day I will. This is the variegated Biliotai. It's also very popular right now. This one here looks so amazing only because look at how wholesome it is. It's still got all the leaves, none of them were burnt. There were no signs of stress. And it's grown in a rosette pattern, and the variegation is just on every leaf. And look at this young leaf there. Even the young leaves are still on the plant. Normally we would have leaves that would yellow up and fall off when they are tired, but this is a plant that is kept in really pristine conditions, really good care. I really admire not just the form and the variegation on this plant, but also how the care that it was given. Next up here, this is I can't remember what this is. But it's got really nice yellow-green variegation. Yeah, someone comment down below to let me know what this is, in case some people may be interested. But look at that, even the earliest leaves are still on the plant. It's still on the plant, like none of the leaves have fallen off. This is probably grown in very high humidity and it was never overwatered or underwatered, given the right pest control, fungicide for sure, because fungus actually happens quite often here in Indonesia where the humidity can get too high. There's no extra floral nectaries. There's just no pressure on this plant or whatsoever. This is a really well taken care of plant. So I guess in this contest, it's really interesting to learn about the perfect plant care, not just the form, and to reward people who spend all this time. This is the Philodendron strawberry shake. This is actually a really big plant, and I'm sure that size and age of the plant does come in play when people are judging for the plant. And this one, it just looks really interesting, although the variegation is a little bit lacking. More pretty princesses here. There's just too many of them all over Instagram. But here are more Florida beauties, and these guys are also trending right now. Although I have a feeling that people might get over them soon because there's just so much demand for them now. And that usually happens when when too many people are rushing towards that plant species, they also get bored very quickly. So a lot of nurseries are growing this out. The demand is still not met with the supply yet, but it will soon, and then that's when the price will equalize. But this is actually really beautiful. Look at each leaf here. They are all variegated, and while their variegation is irregular, but it's quite stable in this one, and the leaves are just in such perfect shape. There's no signs of damage. This one here is got a really much more mature size leaf. It's more dragon shaped with the leaves, but it is more sparse than the plant before. It's not as bushy as the one we just saw before, but nonetheless, this is still a beautiful plant. This is definitely Florida beauty goals. These are just the smaller versions of them, but still worth appreciating. This one is it's such a full pot. Look at that. That's actually 2 plants in a pot. Really beautiful. And actually apply leaf shine on it to make the leaves look a bit glossy. But again, there's no signs of damage at all. This is incredible. These guys did a really good job with caring for these. This one is actually really pretty. Look at that. The form is really nice. The leaves are all facing us instead of that rosette pattern. And then there's just some baby ones here. I don't think they're gonna win, but yeah, look at the variegation. It's quite nice. Yeah, these guys actually don't revert unless you give it low light, so quite steady plant to have. Alright, so next we have the bird nest type Anthuriums, and these are the variegated ones. There's actually a lot of them coming in hot in the market, so I just interviewed Eddie Pranoto, who is in the forefront of hybridizing them for the variegation. He actually controls the variegation. He actually marries or hybridizes different species to get the specific traits and colors. Fascinating episode to look out for in February. So I don't really know the species name of these, but some of them can get massive, some of them stay relatively small, but they're really well liked for this rosette or bird nest type growth pattern. And this one is so beautiful. Look at the variegation, the creamy watercolor like variegation. And then the leaves also look a little bit like fern. It's very curly. Interesting. And this next one here is also very nice. Look at it's got a little bit of pink on it. And then this one here, it's a little bit more of a cream variegation. And this one, my goodness, this is such a beauty. Look at that. And this is probably the Angela, the Anthurium Angela, if I'm not wrong. And next up here, this is the variegated Anthurium pterodactyl, and it's got this bird-like face. And this one here is the Clarinervium, if I'm not, yeah, Clarinervium variegated. There's a lot of them produced from seed actually, because they tend to variegate on their own when grown from seeds. Next, this category here is the variegated Monstera, which is your favorite plant ever. That there are some Adansonii here, ones that I really struggle with. This is, I wouldn't say this is something very, very unique because we've seen so many of these. The Stanleyana, yellow variegated, we've also seen this many, many times. This is the Adansonii local variegated, or the variegated mint, which Kaylee Ellen talked about in some of her videos. And here are some variegated Adansonii. But what I really want to bring your eye to is this one. This actually belongs to my friend Anga from Eat My Plants, and he actually paints this pot, so he is such an artist. That's amazing, right? And this is his variegated Monstera, and look at the condition. I mean, the size is huge, but the condition that it's in now. If you've grown variegated plants before, you'll know that variegated portion of the leaves will tend to crisp up if you miswater it. So the trick to getting perfect leaves is to consistently water it and make sure that it's get enough, humidity, not too much light. You don't want it to burn, but the light level is really important because you do want to manage the variegation as well. So this is really, really well done. The fact that you can keep the plant so healthy with no crisping in sight at all. So I guess I'm gonna start taking you guys to see the booths because there's so many booths to look at. All right, so we've moved on to the tour portion. And there's some moss poles here for almost $1 US dollars. There's tons of plants. Some of them are quite common, some of them are quite rare. But the good thing is that everybody has their name tag and price on it. Well, not everyone, but most of them, I guess. So I'm gonna try as best as I can to report it. But again, we're facing a downward trend in price for plants. So now it's actually a really good time to buy from Indonesia if you live here, or if you're trying to export from here. Oh my god, this is so hard to do a voiceover, but this is a Scandapsis sp Sumatra, or it should be an sp Sumatra. I'm not sure what the label says. Really, really nice with the strokes on the leaves. Yeah. And then let's see. It says officinalis, but I might be wrong. I don't know. Here are some kokedamas. I'm really not a big fan of kokedamas. This is actually cheap, 35,000 for a big pot of the Philodendron Araceae. This is the Brazil. There's some neon and some green form. But I guess this store specializes in trailing plants and kokedamas. And this is, I believe, a peperomia, if I'm not wrong. I don't know what this plant is, but this is really, really beautiful. I don't know, sometimes when I see plants in kokedama, I just feel like they don't want to be there. Like this philodendron, I don't know what this is, but it doesn't look like it belongs there. So it's awkward for me sometimes to look at them. And here are some Hoyas for Hoya lovers. There's some Australis Lisa. This one here is the Hoya verticillata. It's actually still a baby SP nganjuk, it says. Don't know all the species here, but they're all baby Hoyas. Just so you know, Hoyas aren't just coming into the market here, as in they're just been accepted into the market, so not many players in the Hoya world yet. This is a Hoya rotundifolia, 75,000, and that's actually a really good deal. I bought mine for 200. There's some massive, massive begonias here. And also somehow begonias are not a popular plant here. I guess people kill them very easily. So watch my video if you want to know how to care for begonias. And look at this amazing, gorgeous Aglaonema. My goodness, this looks like glass. Look at how shiny and translucent everything is. So this is the Bidadari. I'm guessing that's the name of the Aglaonema. There's actually a few plants in the pot, and if you notice carefully, more begonias here. Look at how vibrant red they are. They actually look really, really nice in pots and also in landscaping. This is Pink Legacy, 175,000. They look like a painting, basically. Really, really gorgeous. I don't see these varieties often. And there's some caladiums down below. I guess this store really loves a lot of pinks and reds. This one is really, really interesting. It says Infinity 250,000. So they like full sun, they like to be in constantly moist soil and good airflow. So if you don't have full sun or really good direct sunlight, don't even bother with caladiums. This one is really interesting. It actually looks like a poison dart frog. It says Miss Muffet. I guess Muffet is a frog, is it? I don't know. I'm really not used to doing voiceovers because I don't remember what I said about the plant before, and I'm just trying to be interesting, trying to sync up with the video. So I apologize if you're getting a bit confused with my voiceover, but you would not want to hear the original audio on this. It was just people shouting and, oh, by the way, this is a milk confetti, and I want you guys to roll your eyes every time you see one of these because we'll be seeing many of these. This is 650,000. Actually, this is quite pricey, but they're very sought after right now, and somehow everybody has supply of these. So yeah, this is a cool massive begonia. And this is a cool Dieffenbachia. Look at that. Look at all these dots on the leaves, the camouflage pattern. This is really pretty. It just says Dieffenbachia, 125. Very, very good price. I would have brought this home if I didn't have like a 12-hour drive home. This is really, I really want to collect Dieffenbachias, by the way. They have such beautiful markings. And this is an interesting begonia. I believe this was gifted to me. This is endemic to Indonesia. I can't remember the species ID. I'll try to have it on the screen if I can get to it. This video is becoming too hectic for me. Begonia brevirimosa, most difficult begonia in my experience. Of course, there are more difficult ones, I'm sure, because I haven't tried most of them. This is maculata in flower. It's so happy now. And this is from Mia Group, in case some of you guys are wondering. And this is the next vendor, Rumah Sinar. And that's a beautiful domesticum variegated. These are also quite sought after now, and they're quite pricey at the time. A lot of people also have them available, so they're quite in good supply as well. So if you're really looking for one, you can find it easily. There's some more Syngoniums. I'm not sure exactly what species they are. There's so many varieties of them. This one says something galaxy something. Yeah, I'm just not a big Syngonium person, and there's just too many of them. They always look small and they don't look beautiful when they get bigger. This is a Monstera obliqua, and it's gone down in price. It's only 1/10 of the price it was before. This is the Syngonium scrambled egg. That's the Wendlandii variegated. The regular Wendlandii is the most spider mites prone Syngonium that I own, so just be careful if you have that. Just check often for spider mites. Burlemarks variegated. This is also a pretty stable price for this. It's not expensive, it's affordable, but it's quote-unquote rare. The next vendor, Zira Garden. It seems that they have a lot of Syngoniums. This one says a Syngonium red spot tricolor, 10 million. That's too much for a Syngonium if you ask me. This one is probably the strawberry shake, strawberry milk. I know that because I was just gifted one from Bro Plant. Thank you so much for gifting me. Please roll your eyes. Here's another milk confetti. We're gonna see more of these. I don't know, I'm just so bored of these because they've been appearing on Instagram and people have been raving about them. So yeah, this is really, really gorgeous. This is probably also the strawberry milk. Interesting how irregular the variegation is, but I heard it's quite stable. So here's a full view of the table. And Joglo Aglo, so that's a tongue twister for you guys, but basically they're an Aglaonema seller here. They've got lots and lots of Aglaonemas. This one is so gorgeous. Look at that, the spots. Oh my gosh. And this one here is really interesting. I love the color combination, the pink, the white, and the greens. This one is really pretty. Look at the beautiful pink on it. Aglaonemas actually look really translucent sometimes, really like glass-like almost, very delicate and just dainty little plants. This one is really gorgeous. It says the Ruby Fanta. It's actually 2 million. That's actually very, very pricey for Aglaonemas. There are actually many rare varieties of them, so if you are bored with the regular ones, be sure to check out some of the uncommon Aglaonemas. Here's a succulent and cactus vendor. I cannot bring any of these home because they will die in my care, but I appreciate seeing them in stores, outside, and under other people's cares. This one's actually very cheap. It's 20,000 for 5 pieces. That's like $1.25 US dollars for 5 pieces. That's incredibly cheap. My goodness. I guess some of these nurseries are really big because that's how you can get them cheap if you have the scale of production, but they're very slow growing in general. I'm just amazed by how cheap they were. I would assume that they would be expensive because of how hard they were to care for, at least for me. And here are more Florida Beauty. There's a lot of them in sale, and this plant stand sells many rare plants. There is some, I don't know what that is. Is that the Gloriosum? And yeah, I don't know what I said in this video. I can't remember what I said. Sorry. Some variegated Monsteras. Actually, a lot of them are also coming into the market. The demand was actually quite high a few months ago, and I think this is a signal for me to start letting go of some of my variegated Monsteras because I don't want their prices to fall too fast, too suddenly. But yeah, they are actually quite easy to revert, so people have been losing some of the plants as well. That's why they're buying them all over again. Watch my videos if you want to know how to care for variegated Monsteras. And this is a beautiful Anthurium pterodactyl, or maybe it's a hybrid of a Clarinurvium and pterodactyl. I could be wrong. I'm still new with my Anthurium game, but there's some cool hybrids coming out of the market. This is Silver Blush. I can't remember if this is actually a hybrid or a mutation. Roll Your Eyes, another milk confetti. This one's expensive. This is $1.5 million. But look at it, it's actually quite nice up close, but I don't know, I'm just not a big fan of them. I cannot imagine this getting too big and taking over the space. Like, I wouldn't want that. But they look nice in a small pot like this for 5 minutes, if I can just say so myself. Of course, I've offended so many Syngonium lovers in that sentence. But yeah, I think I was commenting on how the prices actually fall very fast for Syngoniums, which is why one of the reasons why I don't really want to collect them as well. I really want to collect all plants, don't get me wrong, I don't discriminate, but their prices are just so unstable. Syngonium Pink Splash, this used to be expensive, now it's only 125,000. Yeah, and I don't know, I'm not super crazy about pink plants either, I don't know. But those are some of the name of the sellers, by the way, on the screen if you wanted to reach out to them. And there are just some variegated plants. This is a Philodendron gigas here. This is actually on my wish list. Can't remember if I actually bought one or not. This is 350k. I may have already bought one, but didn't label it, so it's in my nursery somehow. This is a Sirihulung, a piper. I can't remember the exact Latin name, but they used to be very rare and hard to find, and now it's quite affordable. They're very velvety. This is very difficult piper to care for, actually. Very difficult, but they're very stunning nonetheless. It's only 35,000. I would really have brought it home with me if I didn't have the drive home. This is the Philodendron code 69686, 149,000. This is crazy. They have fallen so much in price. They used to cost at least 10 times more, but they are relatively fast growers, easy to grow, so everyone is propagating them now. Stanleyana, variegated yellow, Soderoid variegata. Watch my video if you want to know my 2 cents about it. Some of them are probably fine, but there's a big batch that had mosaic virus from tissue culture, so be careful when you buy that. This is the Syngonium 3 Kings. Their prices did go down quite a lot. And Roll Your Eyes, Morse, milk confettis here. Or maybe I should just make you guys drink shots instead of rolling your eyes. That would be way more fun. Here are some potting media, and some vitamins for plants, and there's a cool booth here. I don't know what I'm talking about in this video, blah blah blah. Some cool caladiums back here. And then this is some products that I don't really use. I don't think plants need them, but if you want to give your plants something extra, go for it. And I really love these pots here. He imported them. By the way, that's my dog. She's making noise behind me in case you heard that. More Syngoniums here, probably the Syngonium, I don't know. But anyways, I was just saying that potting mix and nutrients are probably very good businesses to run now because plants have gone down in price, but all these plants still do need nutrition. So that's actually a good business to be in. This is actually a clearance plant. This is everything here with, I believe, was 15,000. So very, very cheap, basically $1 for like a pot. Of course, it's the Aroids and Joy, which nobody wants anymore. I feel bad for these guys because they used to be expensive, but then they're so cheap now, and nobody wants them anymore, despite their beauty. This one's 25,000. It's a little bit more expensive. It's almost $2 per pot. And it's sad because nobody even picked these up. Even though they're on sale, nobody wants them. So this goes to show how the demand for plants actually did take such a plunge. Currently we have an oversupply of plants here in Indonesia, so that should correct itself over time. But let's see. I'm actually taking it easy with my store. I'll be more focused on making contents for you guys for now. This is Syngonium T25, the 325,000. More Syngonium. This is the model. This looks really beautiful actually. It looks a little bit like the Paraiso Verde. Very, very interesting. Cercestis mirabilis. This is actually in my wish list. I haven't gotten one of these yet. 500k, still expensive. I think I'll wait. Maybe I'll get it in a plant swap someday. Roll your eyes, another milk confetti. Here is the Apipremnums sp. marapi. This is what we discussed earlier in the aroid portion of the video. This is endemic here to this region in Jogja, so that's cool to see. And here's a bird's eye view of everyone in this booth. This is actually the larger variety of the Rhaphidophora sp. marapi, which is local to this area. It seems variegated here, but I'm sure they also come in green form. But the leaves just look so interesting because it's asymmetrical and it's just very odd shaped. Each leaf is really different. So if you're into that kind of thing, this is the right plant for you. Moving on, more Florida beauty. There's quite a lot of them in the market now. This is 6 million, if it means something to you. If you're in the market for one of them, this is a Syngonium, I believe. Syngoniums are really having their time now, I guess. Everybody's having them. And this is variegated. These look very expensive actually, only because I've never really seen them before. This is the Amydrium, I believe. The Amydrium medium variegated. Scindapsus variegated. Rhaphidophora. This is a Anthurium, probably a pterodactyl variegated. And this here is the Anthurium andrianum. I'm not sure what. Yeah, this is probably a species. Moving on. Yeah, this is the Amydrium medium variegated. It's also coming into the market quite a lot. Look at this camouflage. This is actually really interesting. This leaf. This is actually a Syngonium chiapense variegated. This is insane. I really love this variegation. The chiapense is actually quite a sought after plant lately. I've been seeing a lot of people post these. So really, really interesting. But this one doesn't have a stable variegation, it seems. So yeah, I'll be on the lookout for this one to see how the rest fare with variegation. Let's see, there's some more Scindapsus here. Again, if you're a serious collector, you can go ahead and get them now, but if I were you, I would wait until they become stabilized in price and until we can find out all the stable variegated varieties, because not all of them will be stable, by the way. Moving on down, this is the variegated green Congo, at least that's what the label says. Although it has a little bit of yellow, this is actually really, really pretty. It's got cream variegation with the older leaves. This one here, it actually says it's the yellow Congo, so I'm not sure what the difference is exactly. But this one is very, very yellow on the variegation. As you can see, and it's also got darker leaves compared to this greener one. And then there's one more back there, and this is the red Congo. I guess there's a little bit of red around the rims, and the caterpillars are red. So yeah, I didn't know that these three existed. Really cool to discover. And here we have some variegated Anthuriums, variegated Syngoniums. Interesting. This is called the Syngonium Panda. There's no price listed on it. And let's see. There is a painted lady, and then this is it doesn't have a species ID, but this is actually the variegated Syngonium. I'm not sure what variety that is. Vendor was Malahoi, in case you guys want to know. And next up we have the little garden, and this is actually a succulent and maybe cacti vendor here. There's some Haworthia here, very, very classic plant that's variegated. Probably easy to grow. Haworthias are not particularly difficult. This is probably an aloe hybrid, variegated. I'm not very good with my succulents. I'm still trying to figure them out. But there's actually not that many families to figure out. So yeah, there are many varieties here, ones that I would never dare to pick up because I kill them. Again, I'm a cactus killer. This one here looks like it's probably a euphorbia. It's got this tuberous base. I don't know what you call it. It's very bootylicious basically, but it's got a classic cacti trunk up top. This is actually an interesting plant. It would look really good on terracotta. And there are some beautiful furry ones. This one's got so many babies coming out of them. This is so adorable. Wow. And then this one looks like it's flowering. These are all only 35K, which is about $2 US each. That's crazy. So this is the vendor in case you want to know how to reach out. The next one is Kebun Bonsel. That's the name of the store. This is some Anthurium dorayakis and some hybrids. Very, very interesting. These guys actually will look significantly different once they reach maturity. It's hard to tell them apart when they're young. And there's this little variegated banana tucked away under a desk. I'm not sure why it's under here. It doesn't look like it's on sale, or maybe someone has already purchased it. But this has very good variegation, and it's the right size to bring home. The massive begonias. And look at this pilea. This is actually really big. This is one of the biggest one I've seen so far. Look at the leaves. They're so huge. This is a plant that likes consistent conditions once you get it right. Don't change the lighting and watering. Here are some caladiums with a little bit of pink spots on them. Very, very adorable. Look at that. There's so many caladiums. I don't really remember all the names. I'm pretty sure that most of these are actually hybrids or mutations, because they tend to change their pattern very often depending on their conditions. Some beautiful begonias. Actually, begonias do really well in higher latitude and in cooler climates, I noticed, because I've seen some nurseries where they do so much better up there than where we are in the lowlands. This one's got really beautiful pink. It's a Rex type begonia. And this is a Schismatoglotis. Someone put a sticker right on the leaf. I don't have the heart to take it off, but yeah. So this is a Schismatoglotis SP. Somehow Schismatoglotis are not given specific species ID. They're all just named SP. I don't know. Someone should come along and give them proper names, I think. This one, it could possibly be another Schismatoglotis. Very, very beautiful, right? With the silver, almost camel-like pattern on her leaves. If you hear footsteps, that's Gia. She's like trying to get my attention. It's really hard to do an hour of voiceover. I really don't know what to say. I can't remember exactly what I said during the video. This is, yeah, this is Guerrilla Garden. They actually have a lot of rare plants here. And this is the Syngonium scrambled egg again. Beautiful. This one's got a bit of yellow. I'm not sure if that's normal. I guess that's why they call them the scrambled eggs, because they've got a little bit of yellow on it. Really pretty actually, but not easy to care for, this Syngonium. very spider mites prone. So you have to be on top of the pest control for these. And then this is a Philodendron Birkin. Look at this, guys. This is only 100,000. They have fallen so much in price. That's crazy. This looks like a Monstera marmorata. And more Philodendron Florida Beauty. There's so many of them in the market now. If you are looking to export, do look around. Many nurseries do have them, and there are many types of variegations and qualities. But usually, the better quality, the more expensive they are. But this is the kind of plant you don't want to cheap out on the variegation quality, because it's really important. And then more, this is an example of one that's not good. This is the Florida Beauty that is cheap, but it's got really bad variegation. So yeah, this is a discounted one. Some Burlemarks Variegata. This one's 100,000. It's a good price actually. Some variegated Monstera. It's 1 million, and now it's maybe 500,000. I don't really understand why there's two prices on there, but this is actually a very good price. Although the new leaf, it looks like it may either be unfurling or it could be water stress, where it's getting too much water and it's trying to transpire the water. But yeah, I would definitely wait to see that new leaf unfurl properly before I get this, if I were you. And this is a Philodendron White Princess, 3 million. I've actually never really heard of this before, but yeah, I guess I must have dropped something in the video. But the variegation doesn't seem to be too spectacular on this one, but that little bit of pink is quite amazing, isn't it? I guess like the pink princess, you really have to get a really good variegated one. It does cost a little bit more money, but it does go a long way. Here's some more variegated Anthurium pterodactyl, probably a hybrid. Here is some variegated ZZs, 300,000. Not a bad price at all at this size. They are very, very slow to grow. They're even slower growing than the green counterparts. Quite lovely, actually. More Syngonium milk confetti. Roll your eyes, ladies. I'm rolling with you guys right now. This one's a little bit on the pricier side. It's almost twice as much as some of the lower priced ones. And there's a Philodendron lupinum here, 50,000. Oh my god, they used to be 450,000 per leaf. They've come a long way, haven't they? This is a Plowmanii blackface, 300,000. Still a good price. It's still not too cheap, but I guess it's the right amount for the beauty and the rarity. This is an Anthurium baluana, 500,000. This is actually a good price. I have one on sale in my store. I think was it 400 or 450? I can't remember. But mine is much smaller leaf, and this one's actually a much more established plants. In general though, at this Jogja Plant Festival, people are pricing the prices according to the locals, and they are actually a little bit better priced here than in Jakarta, because we are the capital city here. Look at this cactus here. It looks like something from Mario Brothers video game. Looks like a caricature of a cactus rather than a cactus itself. 250,000, very pricey, but very cute. I love looking at these pups just emerging from a trunk. And there are many, many more cacti. This is a gymnos is short for something, I can't remember what. I have a few of these. I bought them and they all rotted, so I'm clearly not qualified to grow these. But they're actually really, really beautiful, but very slow growing, and they do put out a lot of pups once they are happy. There's some really funky alien looking ones back there. I will be going to Bandung soon, so there will be a lot of cacti and succulents nurseries there that I can give you a better tour, and maybe I can also get a better understanding of the different species. Look. This is, I don't know, maybe something like the golden barrel. I don't know the exact. So this is a mammillaria. I have this in a sheep terracotta pot because they look like sheep cotton balls. This one is interesting. It looks like a crown with little babies growing off it. And these are only 20,000, some of the ones in the front, so cheap. And this is a lot of Syngoniums, and there's some baby Caladiums. Oh my god, this is actually a very good price for Syngoniums. This one is the Caladium Pinky Boy. Very, very vibrant color. They do get huge usually, but although some of them stay relatively small, again, they need a lot of good light. They need some direct light for them to get, you know, optimal growth. I really like the placards on these. They're handwritten, and yeah, it's quite nice visually. And back there's this rack. Look at this. It's made of these, I don't know what you call this, stainless steel? And then there's this wood planks that is just embedded into them to create shelves. This is a very economical way of creating a shelf. These are some philodendrons, and then I don't remember what I said in the video, sorry. Some silvery, and there's some, oh my god, this is an Epischia Choco Velour, 140,000. It's quite pricey for an Epischia actually, but they are actually very, very, very furry, very fuzzy. The hair is actually quite thick. Gia, you need to stop walking around. People can hear your footsteps, Gia. Okay? Stay put, baby. Sorry about that. She's been trying to play with me all day long, and she's just different every day at her energy level. These are some variegated Peperomia argyria. This is actually quite beautiful. That one has half moon. This is the yellow variegated. They look so interesting, but I prefer the all green form. More milk confetti. Roll your eyes. Let's see how much this is. It's 600,000. It's actually a decent price, but I don't know. Actually, I don't know how they grow. I've been getting them in a plant swap, so I will learn how to care for it. Here's some Anthurium Balawanum hybrid, maybe, or is it just species? More Florida Beauty, 2.85 million. It's actually a pretty good price for this level of variegation. Here are some, what is this? Spathiphyllum Sensation. This is actually very expensive for a spathiphyllum. It's 325,000. It's a yellow variegated one. Usually it's, the white variegated ones are so cheap here. They're like maybe 1/10 of that price. Oh, speaking of which, this is some of the regular variegated ones. They're actually really pretty. Look at that, the price is 20,000. It's like $1, a little bit more than $1 US for this. Their variegation is very stable, but they do respond well to light. So this is a plant that will be a very good light meter, actually, a natural light meter. If they revert to green, you're not giving it enough light. I really love these upcycled plastic cups because they used to be for drinking water. This is a Epipremnum, or no, Rhaphidophora. I don't know which one it is. Maybe Angustia that is putting on a new growth point, and I really love that the roots are showing out of the glass, the plastic cup here. And I really like this. Again, this is the same store, and I really love their display. So simple, everything is upcycled, and I'm a big fan of upcycling things and keeping things very simple and minimal. There's something scientific too about the way that they display their products and their pricing. So this is a Scindapsus Algerius, I think. Very slow growing plant, but beautiful actually. They used to be very rare, but now a lot of people have them. And there's this beautiful rack here, and this is such a good idea because they use twisty wires for placing the cups on it. And there's actually a plant here that I saw yesterday that I really wanted, but it's no longer here. Someone went and bought it. I think it was 35,000, which is a good price. But we will soon see that plant because I show you that plant in, that's Gia with her ears. This is this plant, but it is in Kokedama, so I'm not going to get this plant at all. Such a shame. But if you know what species this is, please do comment down below. This is new to me. I really love the leaf pattern, and they seem to be a vining type plant. Moving on, here's the Afsha garden, and let me see what's there to talk about here. There is, what did I say in this clip? There are some really interesting plants here. They're not expensive. There's some Monstera deliciosa or Borzigiana, and there's some really healthy looking Calatheas here. They're getting leaf shine, which is why their leaves are so shiny and glossy. I'm not sure if they really appreciate that, but they look really good. And this is actually a good price, between 90 to 100,000 for a pot. And this is looking a little bit established too. So this is the Fasciata, if I'm not wrong, the one I was just petting. This is Calathea Eclipse. Rosy, very cute. Yeah, this is the one that I thought is the Fasciata, but again, this is called the Rotundifolia. And let me see. Back here, all right, this is the Chlorophytum, or this is also known as the Mandarin plant. I'm not sure of the species ID, but it's gonna be on the screen. Look at this beautiful, beautiful orange petiole, beautiful orange stripe down the leaves. This is a Ficus tinnici, if I'm not wrong, or a ruby. Monstera marmorata. This is actually my friend's booth, Anga, from Eat My Plants. There's 3 people actually sharing this booth, but look at how quirky this is. This looks a little bit like Thai, but the writing is actually Javanese. So this is one of the other brands, Senang Tanduran. So they actually have a lot of, this is a cool setup. They have a lot of rare plants here and unusual plants. Let me see. And this one is actually the star of the shop, if you ask me. They told me this is a Zamia, but I could be wrong. They look like a fern, but it's got these tubers down close to the potting mix. Interesting, right? I don't know. This is such a unique plant. It looks like a difficult plant to care for, if you ask me, but I may be wrong. This is probably because it's got these like wispy leaves that don't seem to want to dry out, but it's also got these rhizomes or tubers that may store water too. So it looks a little bit like the Hoya, fishtail Hoya, by the way. Very nice. There's some, is it Paraso Verde? I don't know what this is. This looks like a special species of the Philodendron. Let me see, am I going to read the tag? I guess not. It looks like the Plumenia, but it doesn't have those spots on them. So yeah, don't know what this is. And some constellation, Thai constellations. Back here, I really love this setup here because this looks like a Westerners YouTube channel. You guys are keeping your plants this way in this setup with humidifiers, with artificial light. I really quite like how this presentation is. And Anga, he actually experiments a lot with lighting as well, so that's really cool. I really love this red and blue light here. It looks like you're sitting in the back of a tuk-tuk in Bangkok. Some rare plants here, Philodendrons, Florida Beauty again. This is a baby one. 1.75 million. This is actually a good price for this. Very nice variegation too on it. I wouldn't mind this actually. If I was, tight on my budget, this would be one I could get. Another Syngonium milk confetti. So here are some plants that are on sale, 10,000 Indonesian rupiah. That is less than $1. That's so sad. Some apicias here. Some string of plants, some string of dolphins here. I recently rescued some for a video. Peperomia prostrata, string of turtles. These are not easy, by the way. The string plants are not for beginners. The Dischidia numularia, this is actually a lot easier to grow. And there are some Hoyas down here for y'all Hoya lovers. This is the Hoya acuta albomarginata. That's new to me. This is the Hoya Rosario. I'm not sure what this is. Hoya incrusata albomarginata, $125. This is actually a good price for a Hoya that I've never heard of, and it's got spectacular leaves. Then look at this wall of Dischidias. This is so cool. This is actually mounted on pine bark. Really interesting. There's a numularia there. This is how Dischidias like to be grown. Actually, in nature, they are epiphytic like this. So yeah, You do have to water this every day. You need to hose it down if you have them set up like this. This is the Oeantha variegata. There's some orchids back there. They make really good companions for mounted plants. And of course, staghorn ferns and things like that are great here too. A lot of caladiums. There's so many caladium species in this booth and also in this exhibit. This is clearly a plant family that is not well explored. Oh my gosh, I'm getting very thirsty from all this narrating. This is so tiring, you guys. This is a beautiful orchid. I don't know, looks like a Cattleya flower, but I could be wrong. Yeah, the trunk looks like not a Cattleya, but I don't know. I don't know my orchids that well. So yeah, this is actually a, what is the word for it? Medinilla. Is a Medinilla species and it's smaller. Normally the leaves are actually bigger than this and the flowers are usually pink. But this one starts out this dainty white and green. This is actually very precious and that is probably the fruits of the plant. So they like really bright light and lightly moist soil. This is an orchid vendor here, tons of different orchids. There's actually a lot of orchid societies in this area, and of course in Jakarta too. A lot of orchids are endemic to Indonesia, but of course these Phalaenopsis, they are hybridized and commercialized, so they're grown in a wide scale. So this is the name of the vendor in case you want to find out. So this is a very famous orchid vendor. They did reach out to me on Instagram to offer to send me some gifts to unbox, but I said to them that I'd rather get a chance to come visit their factory to see how the orchids are produced, grown, and things like that. And they never got back to me. I guess they didn't want people coming in. But yeah, this is a very good vendor for Phalaenopsis orchids. They have many varieties and also very good conditions and different shapes and sizes. Look at this one here with the little dots. They're so cool. And this is also the vendor that my parents get their Chinese New Year orchids from, by the way, and that's where my orchid rescue video comes from as well. So they actually have really healthy orchids, but they do pack them in sphagnum moss. So we do have to, oh, this is the vendor name, by the way. So when you receive these orchids, I recommend for you to transplant them into leca or horticultural charcoal immediately out of their moss, because they can get overwatered so fast and they won't last one flowering season if you leave them alone. There's lots and lots of Syngoniums here. They're so pretty in a bush like this. This is the Syngonium white variegated, and 50,000, and they have really fallen a lot in price. They used to be a lot more expensive, but this is the easiest variegated Syngonium to grow, fast growing as well and easy to propagate. There's some variegated papayas here. And here is a variegated Phalaenopsis orchid. This blew my mind. I did not know that they came variegated, but 400,000 is actually a lot. So I don't think I'll be taking this home, but I'll be keeping my eye out for this one. It is so beautiful. Sometimes orchids are nice even without the flowers. Just the leaves are quite spectacular. This is the Epipremnum amplissimum, and this is the next it plant, by the way. They are starting to come into the market. The prices are coming up a little bit, and they're actually very slow growing, but they have this beautiful shingling pattern. They climb really well, and if you grow them, it's a Syngonium milk confetti. Roll your eyes. If you grow the Epipremnum up a wall and in a bushy form where there's many vines, they actually look really spectacular. So here is a group of aroid lovers from Tiapus region. This is their logo, and there's quite a few vendors in this shop, and they specialize in mutated and rare and hybridized Anthuriums, and also some Philodendrons and local endemic Aroids. It's really cool that these communities have come together and banded up. So yeah, let me quickly show you some close-ups here. Let me see what is, I can't read the word, but yeah, these are probably the Megasperma. There are Piper, sorry, this is a Piper. I'm trying to read as well from the sticker. This is a this looks interesting. It looks like a Pothos mandula. I think something's wrong here because it's not really unfurling correctly. Maybe it's mutated. out of shape. Yeah, or maybe this is not fully unfurled yet, I don't know. This is a Scindapsus blue elbow, SP salaria. There are literally hundreds of these, thousands maybe, coming out of the jungle, and there's so many mutations and varieties of the Scindapsus. I cannot keep up with all of them, unfortunately. Please do watch my Scindapsus video. I go through some of the species there. This is the Scindapsus 2. The name is on the pot. And then here is, what is this? This is a Rhaphidophora megasperma, variegated. And it's 7.5 million, I think. This is actually very, very pretty. This is a Carcentianum, variegated, I think, a Monstera Carcentianum. Just so you know, I may be wrong. This is cute. This is an Alocasia longiloba, I think, and that's the variegated version of that. So these are the winners from yesterday's Aroid contest, but they brought home quite a lot of trophies. Really proud of them, because they are not so far from me. This is the Anthurium King of Spades. I'm gonna have a video on this species soon. Please do watch my February content because it's going to be all about Anthuriums. This is a really cool hybrid coming from the Apus region as well. And they look really nice when they are big. So yeah, they're just cute like this when they're small. But my goodness, yeah, wait for that video. This is another interesting Anthurium furcatum. It looks like a raptor's claw, 6 million. It looks like a ninja sword actually. This is another Anthurium. What is this? It's a hybrid, but I really love the shape on this one actually. There will be some Anthurium hybridizing videos coming out in February too. That's interesting to watch because I show you how they occur. And that's a Forgetii variegated, Clarinervium variegated. Yeah, there are a lot of Anthuriums that are variegated Anthuriums that are coming into the market. This is really interesting, right? Look at this variegated. It looks like a disease actually, but I'm pretty sure it's not because it's growing. Yeah, I think it's growing relatively well, so I'm not sure. But I wouldn't personally buy this plant, but yeah. There are a lot of variegation chasers out there. This is a Discadia rattleskull. I forgot the name of the Latin name of this. But this looks like a hybrid. This does not look like the full species of that because the leaves look a little bit elongated. Yeah, I'm not sure what this is, but it's a beautiful Discadia nonetheless. There's more milk confetti here. This is actually a Peperomia. I can't remember the species ID on this, but it's got really, really beautiful, glossy, thick leaves, very tropical foliage. It says Peperomia pillow, but this is not it. There is actually a proper Latin name, but I just can't think of it right now. But yeah, I bought one of these because I saw someone unbox this. And this is a really full pot of Peperomia rosso, and it's so beautiful. Look at the pinks and the reds and all the flowers. So these are the contestants for the Aglaonema contest. And look at how bushy these pots are. This is how you grow Aglaonemas, by the way. When we buy them, they tend to be in little pots. And we buy them cheap, of course, but then if you give them about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, they can become this massive, uncontrollable bush. This one here looks like the Philodendron Birkin a little bit. This is so beautiful. Yeah, it's got this beautiful rosette and shrub-like shape to it. Alright, so I guess that is all. This is my exit video. I'm actually impressed with this market. A lot of the plant community came, and the vendors were really amazing. And a lot of people came over to take photos with me, and I really appreciate meeting some of you in person because this is the first time I was actually out in public. But yeah, I guess thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you guys are having a beautiful holiday ahead of you, or you're probably in the middle of the holiday. What am I talking about? So have a great rest of the holidays, stay safe, and I guess I will see you in the next video tomorrow. Bye.